Hi everybody, this is Sue at New Hat Gardening, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a question and answer for you, as well as trying out some new camera equipment that I got to give you a better quality video. Here's my first question. Is gardening easy? Well, it's not easy. It does take effort. You have to understand that the certain plants that are going to be in your zone and your region will be ones that will thrive and make it easier for you. If you choose a plant that perhaps is not zoned for your region, you're going to struggle. So tropicals in my zone 9A will struggle a lot. So I try to avoid those even though they're really beautiful, and I do have some things like hostas and Thai plants. I try to keep them in a very shaded area of my gardens, and it makes it easier for me because it's not in the blasting sun drying out that soil, because they need to have their roots pretty wet all the time. A lot of the things that I plant in my yard are natives or very adapted plants, and we're fortunate enough to have a really good resource here with our austin.gov. There's a green and grow. It shows you all the plants that can be here and will thrive in our region. What I do recommend is checking with your local nurseries and garden centers, because they're going to have the things that are going to thrive here. A lot of our big box stores will go ahead and just ship in anything that's pretty right out of the greenhouse. They haven't had time to acclimate to our environment. They haven't had time to acclimate to our environment. So going from a nice, tropical, beautiful, perfect temperatures, everything in a greenhouse, into a climate like we have here in Austin, it's going to be super difficult for that plant to adjust from Florida, California to here, because we are so dry and so hot, and we don't usually have a lot of humidity, and that's what a lot of those plants are acclimated for. So basically what I'm saying is go ahead and find plants that are acclimated to your zone. Go to your local nurseries and garden centers, and they'll point you in the right direction. My next question is, how often should I water? Well, it depends. It depends on, have you gotten a lot of rain? Do you have a clay soil? There's a lot of things to factor in. One of the best words of advice I can give you is stick your finger in there and feel. If it feels dry or moist, then you know it needs to be watered if it feels dry. Don't over mulch, because if you do get any water, it's not going to have enough time to penetrate all that mulch. So if you do a mulch, do a native local mulch, spread it evenly. It doesn't have to be 3 inches thick, because remember, if we only get a little bit of rain here, it's never going to reach the roots where it needs to be. So make sure you just do a nice little bit of mulch just across the top to freshen things up, give your plants a little bit of nutrition. Sometimes you can even consider taking some mulch and then taking it and mixing it with some compost, and that can also help feed your plants while also protecting the root system and giving it some good nutrition. So my next question number 3, is should I fertilize my plants? And what I would say for anything that's outdoors, if your soil is alive, you don't have to worry about feeding your plants. I would only suggest fertilizing plants that are indoors, that are stuck in a pot, that don't have access to all the microorganisms and the nutrients in the soil. So you're going to have to give that plant that, because it's stuck in that small pot. So I would suggest using a very organic compost, worm castings, things that feed the soil. If you want something that's going to flower, you're going to have to fertilize it to get more flowers. It's going to go straight to the plant and force out those flowers. But remember, that's not a natural way for things to happen. So if you want things to happen naturally outdoors, feed the soil and let the plant flower when it's ready to. Another question people ask me is, how did I get into gardening? Well, I've been gardening for a long time. So I come from a family of gardeners. My brother and my sister-in-law have had their gardening business since I was young. My mom was an avid gardener. I was always the one that was digging her holes or taking her plants out of her truck and bringing them to the garden. So I've always been involved with gardening. Not until, of course, I bought my own home did I start really planting my own plants and really getting into it. But of course, over the years, I've gotten really good at understanding what does well in each zone that I've lived in. And once COVID hit, I had neighbors asking me everywhere to help them in their gardens since everybody got involved in gardening. I also have a license, so I'm able to get all of my plants wholesale. So I was able to start a small business of delivering plants during COVID, and that really helped boost my business. So I was doing consults for people to help them pick the right plants in their gardens, as well as selling them the plants to put in. So I had a really good little business going on for a little while until I realized that a lot of the work that I have to do outside is just unbearable. It's just too hot for me to be out there. So now I just do some simple consults, and I'm trying to start this YouTube channel so I can do things at home in on my time and in the environment that I want to be in. I enjoy being home. I enjoy being in my gardens. And maybe if you're sitting at home watching this, maybe you do too. But I love being at home. This is my happy place. I don't have to be out in the 110-degree weather. And I feel very grateful for that. But also, I want to share my knowledge with you. So I hate having all of this knowledge about gardening and not be able to do much more than what I can do with it. So my ultimate goal is to share it with you and other people. So if you like the content and you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe, share it with your friends. I want to help people. Help me get all this knowledge out to the world. And if you have any questions, please comment below, and I'll be so happy to answer any of your questions. And get out there and garden. Even if it fails and dies, that's part of gardening, so get used to it. Enjoy your day, stay safe, stay hydrated. See you next time. Then lay beneath the beauty of her leaves. Will the birds and the bees seem to agree that we're strong as a maple, twice as sweet? We've had up, we've had down, we've had warm nights, we've gone round and round. What I know, this much is true. There ain't a tree with any leaf that roots me like